Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform. Or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Start with Chris, add a dash of sport, squeeze in some music, then shake, don't stir. And you've got the ultimate blend, LTID, with your host, Chris.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day, good night, goodbye. Hello, how the devil are you all? Welcome along. Excuse me, it's a big one. Well, if I don't say it, nobody else will. We've got Wolves at home. This really was probably harder than it possibly could have been because of how Wolves have been doing these last couple of games. But we will come on to that. This is the preview. And you are watching LTID TV on Leicester Till I Die. We are live, Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. And if you are listening on the podcast, thank you so very much for joining us. We are on all major podcast platforms. And if you have one of them smart speaker things, so, oi, missus, play the podcast Leicester Till I Die. And, of course, you can find us all over the place. There they all are, just a few of them down there. We're on everything, as Dan used to say, we're everything except OnlyFans. And once I negotiate a contract, I will be on that as well. How are we feeling about this game? Jay is in. Hi, Jay. How are you? And he says, let's get the 3 points. It's a must. I think we must win Saturday. I'm pleased with our second half at the Etihad, which we will sort of touch on as well. But I think we all are. I think it gave us a false hope. I don't know. Let's ask. Well, look. We are a third of the way towards Christmas. So I guess it's good to have one of the three wise old men in, isn't it? Good evening, Craig. Welcome along. Did you see what I did there?
Chris. I did see what you did. Very good. Good evening and hello, everyone. Hope you're all well.
Indeed. New time, getting a little bit earlier because as I said before we came live, some people have work in the morning. Some of us have got early retirement, and we can sit here and laugh at those that haven't. Let's first of all go back. Presumably, you've seen the match, Manchester City. I know you didn't go.
No, I did see it. Yeah, I did indeed. Was a bit worried. I think we all were.
After 20 minutes, I was fuming, and Southampton fans on many of the blogs online were sort of saying, "Oh, here we go. This will be 10. Our record's going to go. We're not going to win that bad." And I sat there thinking, you could be right. It was very worrying. But, excuse me, let me ask you, we'll only just quickly touch on this because I've done it to death, but I just like getting other people's thoughts. The Jamie Vardy incident. Now, it peeved me off with the smile with Haaland, the joking. He went to cover his mouth, which was presumably so nobody could see what he was saying. Half-time walking off the pitch, wouldn't be happy, but I'd kind of get it. Full-time, maybe even, but not just when you're about to kick off after you conceded the third goal in 20 minutes.
I mean, it could have been some comment about his record, to be honest. You know, I don't know. I mean, I didn't feel it as much as, you know, other people did. You know, you do want them to be fully concentrated on it. I would imagine it was just some sort of throwaway comment about, you know, him making sure that he hangs on to his record. It's all he's got, kind of thing. But I don't know. I can understand how other people would get a little bit annoyed about it. I'm not a huge fan, but you know, it's not like it adversely affected his game, is it?
No. It can only affect it one way, I guess. Exactly. Before we start looking at some of the early comments that are coming in, what do you think of the Man City game overall? I mean, like I say, those first 20 minutes were like, well, God, here we go. I found a lot out about the team. I mean, I didn't realise that you could actually were allowed to make substitutions at half time. So I learned that. And I also learned that we were actually able to make 5 substitutions. I thought it was only certain teams that could do that. So I learned a lot. But go on then, give me your thoughts on the overall game.
A couple of things. Yeah, definitely a much improved second half. But it has to be tempered with the fact that they did take a couple of players off and naturally probably took their foot off the gas a little bit because of the game that they had in midweek last night. And as it proved, they got a very positive result. But having said that, we still created chances. I know that there's some on the channel who love a stat and others that don't. It's funny enough, but our XG was actually higher than Man City's at the end of that game in terms of, because we created 3 or 4 really good chances in the second half. Again, we weren't clinical enough. Get one of those, whether it's Madders or Kelechi's late one.
Yeah.
Sets up a bit of a finish. But I don't think we were helped in the first half by having a traffic cone at centre forward, to be honest. I wasn't sure whether I would ever see someone move less than Steve Howard. Ironically, also at the Etihad many years ago when we played them in a League Cup game, and I went to that game, and Steve Howard, I'm not sure, I think he had some kind of tag that wouldn't allow him to go out the centre circle. And I got pretty much the same feeling with Jamie Vardy, to be honest. If you're playing as any striker, and particularly a lone striker, your first job is to be an outlet. Now, if that means if the ball's down with the left back, you get over to that side to create a ball down the line for him so they can get out, so the team can get out.
Yeah.
Same way on the right hand side. But too often he wasn't making a move over to those sides. So I think we found it difficult to get out, other than just lumping it and giving it them back. I think that role is pivotal, particularly when you're playing a team like Man City and you don't get much of the ball. You've got to be able to keep it. So him not offering much, I thought was really disappointing, and I don't think it helped our overall first half performance.
I mean, do you think? I mean, I'm hoping that Dean Smith is looking at this with, well, whatever, it could be that I'm only here for the next 8 games, so it doesn't matter who I upset or whatever. Now I've put Jamie Vardy in, as in fairness, Sadler did, to try and appease the crowd. I think Sadler did that.
Yeah.
I think the Vardy inclusion might have been more down to Craig Shakespeare coming back. And it's great to see him back, let me just say. Hopefully he'll get a really warm welcome tomorrow. Tomorrow, on Friday, on Saturday, or any day. But he had the same amount of touches as Kelechi and Iheanacho. So we can't say that Kel's had more of the game or anything like that.
Yeah.
But he never had a shot, Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he get any touches in the final third.
Very few.
He just didn't affect the game, know, and particularly in the position we're at, you need 11 players affecting the game.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we've got a couple of other players who do affect the game, but in an adverse way. But I mean, Vardy didn't affect it at all for me, and it's sad to see, because you can understand a little bit of sharpness going, a little bit of pace going. What I'm missing is the desire, and that seems to have gone for me. Apart from little bursts like he did in the last home game where he got a start and he clattered into a couple of players. But to be honest, we could do that. You need more from your centre forward.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, Kelechi, like you say, got the goal. Although, I mean, everybody was saying, well, grandmother could have got that, So,
you got to be there.
He had to be there, exactly. Had Maddison decided not to go for glory, and let's be honest with you, if it hadn't gone for glory and it had bounced off a defender, would have all been saying, why didn't you just shoot? So he can't win. And had that not hit the post and gone in, we could have been looking at a very different result. But look, to me, I think Man City showed us the respect of putting all the big boys out. and of course they took them off because, like you said, they had the game coming up. But they did what they had to do, which was they've got to keep the pressure up on Arsenal, which is winning. Arsenal are maybe beginning to sort of falter a little bit. Okay, it's only one game, but you know what I mean. They had to do that, and they had to come out, and what they wanted to do was put the game to bed early, and therefore be ready for Wednesday night. So they're taking all the big guns off and what have you, but still, they did show us the respect. But I still say that wouldn't have happened in the second half if City had done the same and Brendan Rodgers was in charge.
Potentially not. Potentially not. I mean, again, I do think we have had the rough end of the stick this season. I mean, what was it, a couple of seasons ago where Vincent Kompany banged one in the top corner for the best goal he's ever scored? John Stones hit him on with his left foot. I mean, he's probably that left foot gets used for standing on, and he sort of smashes a half volley into the top corner. Yes. Then we give them the second one with old Wilf doing his ballet dancing. And then the third, again, I mean, how many mistakes in that third? Shocking pass from KDH. Yeah. And again, a ballet dancer tackle in the middle of the pitch from, no offence to any ballet dancers who may be watching, such as yourself, Chris.
There's nothing wrong with a bit of ballet, a bit of Swan Lake.
Yeah. So we didn't help ourselves, let's put it that way. We're unfortunate with the worldie from John Stones. And then we basically handed the others on a plate to them. So, they would probably have had enough if they wanted to really go at it. But I don't think we're helping ourselves at the moment.
We're not. We do manage to shoot ourselves in the foot quite. And they do say, don't they, with football, when it's going against you, it goes against you.
Yeah. Yeah, when you think of how many sort of unlucky goals, own goals, worldies that have been scored against us this season, you do start to think, whether something's against you. I mean, the Traore goal for Villa, first touch, virtually his first touch in his first game and first goal for 18 months. Yes. Son scoring 3 worldies in a game when he hasn't scored 3 for the rest of the season. Yeah. It's just, there has been a lot going against us as well. Yeah.
Well, let's just have a look at a few comments before we delve into the Wolves game. BT Bobby, I'm a Wolves fan. What are your thoughts on it? Well, we're just going to come on to that then in a second, BT. But you are welcome along. We always are happy to have fans from the opposition popping on. And if you fancy,
and give us your thoughts.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah, indeed. Give us let you know. Or do you feel like you're safe now? Because you're up on 34 points, is it, or something? I think you've got to be feeling pretty happy. Jay says Wolves will lose to us. Well, Nate in from America. Good evening, Nate. How are you? Jay, home with Madison, Daka, and Nacho 3-0. We'll see who is going to go with. We'll be asking my wise old co-host here what his starting lineup will be later. Anthony's big up, mate. How the devil are you? He's going for a 2-1 Leicester win. I like the cut of that man's jib. I've got to be honest with you. I've always said that, Anthony. You're a good man. Scott is in. Good evening. How are you? Vardy should not have played as alone. No, we know that. That's quite correct. ODH is in. Good evening. If Dean Smith kept us up, would you consider him for the job next season? Okay, ask you that, Craig. I mean, he's earned the right, hasn't he?
I think he will have earned the right, to be honest. And if there's a reaction to that 3, the 3 that have come in, and a positive reaction, then it would be very harsh to ditch them. I would hope that if they kept us up, we would give them a chance, but also be working in the background to have a plan ready this time. Yes. If it didn't work out. I mean, you can imagine if they keep us up, we ditch them, and then whoever comes in doesn't do a particularly good job. They're up against they'll find a losing battle there against the public perception of what they've done. So I think there's every chance that if they keep us up, they'll get at least a crack at the start of the next season.
I know. Even if they take us down, who could? I don't. Who could be better at bringing us up? I mean, I know that they are big fans of Potter. We might be better off going for Potter maybe after the next job. You could say, is he damaged now? If we go down, Potter's not going to come. His stock is, even after Chelsea, I think a lot of people accept that it wasn't all his fault. So his stock's still reasonably high, so we won't get him if we go down. But if we go down, I just wonder who would be better at bringing us up. Nathan Jones? I don't think so. So it's worth sticking with them, I think, if we go down. Now, please, I know you've said it once already, but Boris is in, and I respect Boris's opinions. Totally respect him, his opinions, but he is. He's the number one Vardy fan. He is the head of the Leicester Till I Die Jamie Vardy Appreciation Society. But he said the inability of our midfield to set up Vardy was the main fault.
For me, there's a connection between midfield and the strikers, and particularly Vardy. I agree to that extent. But when you look up, you've got to be able to see someone who is starting to make a move. You can't look up, see him static, and then hope that he makes the run. The striker will always have to make the run. Yeah. But I'm not asking him to do that. What I'm asking him to work the line. If you can see your fullback under pressure with the ball, all you've got to do is move from the centre circle to that wing to allow them an out ball. We're not asking him to chase around and closing down. And there was no way that he could do all the closing down around all those defenders. No. Not asking him for that. What I was asking for is for him to be an out ball when we're under pressure, and he didn't do that for me.
No. Boris, I think, is also the number one wind-up merchant in the chat as well. So let's not get too panicky. Scott, and if regards to Smith staying on, I have to say no, to be honest, but to be grateful if he kept us up. The thing is, again, we are not the club that we were 2 or 3 seasons ago. The sort of manager that we would have attracted when we were, fifth for 2 seasons running is not the sort of manager we'll now attract if we manage just to stay up. I'm sorry, but it's true. And yes, we're still a Premier League club, and yes, that has a certain attraction. But, got to be totally honest with you, let's say, Leeds just stay up. Are Leeds as big an attraction as Brighton or Brentford at the moment? No, they're not. And I'm afraid, unfortunately, no are Leicester. Leon, well, what can I say? So true.
Very good.
Hey. I can't keep that pressure on, though, Leon. Craig, have you been watching Billy Elliott recent bally dancing films?
I did see Billy Elliott at Curve, to be fair, and it was very good.
Yeah, you're talking to a man of culture here, Scott. You really are. Leicester for Life is in. I'm just going to ignore Boris now. The Blue Fox is in. Good evening. Bit is in. Evening, Chris. I think we'll win 3-0. I hope so. Fingers crossed we will. Fingers crossed. I'd take that now. I don't want Vardy, Dean. I don't know if Chris saw. He probably did, but yes. Well, we spoke that. We did touch on that, didn't we, Craig? Yeah. What position were we in when Brendan came in? I think it was about 11th or something, wasn't it? It was mid-table. I don't think we were this low down.
No.
And
I think maybe 14th or something. We weren't. I think they acted before we got very good.
Yeah.
I think they reacted last time before we got dragged into a relegation battle, and I think Rodgers came in, gave us a lifeline, and that's for any Spandau fans that managed to get that one. And then he went on to do what he's done with us. So but I don't think we were back down in a relegation battle when he came.
No. Thing is, Andrew, I would run through the barricades for you, and it's just using my instinction. Shall we quit? Shall we quit now? Shall we have the agreement? We'll quit now,
I
shall
think
we?
so.
Yeah, I think it's for the best.
Yeah, we don't need this pressure on to keep coming up with Spandau songs.
Oh, I love is we're dragging Craig into this. We are pulling him down to our level. That's what we like. So we have a game on Saturday. It's Wolves. Early feelings about this one?
Quietly confident, I would say. Andy Madley, not as confident as I was. No. No. Yeah, quietly confident. I say, it's the first home game for the new management trio. Hopefully, the fans will be in good voice, and we hit the ground running. I think that's really important. I think the start that we have to the game will dictate the way it goes. We can't sit back. We need to come out of the blocks and get the crowd with us and use that and try and get ourselves ahead in the game. I think, even if we're 1 or 2 up, I think we will have nervy moments that we have to see through. But I'm quietly confident.
I mean, in some ways, I'm wondering whether because I think the second half against Man City, and we do forget, like you said, they did take all their big guns off. But like I say, let's say they took Haaland off, they brought Alvarez on. I mean, not a bad sub to have sat on the bench, is it?
No, not bad at all.
But is that, do you think, giving us false confidence?
No, I wouldn't say it was false confidence because we know that we've got some good players. We've got some good players. We've got a good team. What they haven't got is confidence at the moment, and I would hope that they would have taken some of that confidence from that second half performance and taken that into a good week's training, and then come out refreshed after a virtually a full week, and come out and put on a performance, knowing full well that we've got another massive game 3 days later.
Yeah, exactly. Potentially bigger, really. And I'm dreading saying this because you know what Leicester are like. If there's a record there to be broken, we help the other team break it. Wolves have not won at the KP stroke Walkers, whichever they've played at, while we've been in the Premier League.
Right. Okay.
So if they do, it will be their first one. We've beaten them 3 times at our place, and 4 wins to us, 3 to us. I mean, the chances are it's going to be high scoring because it always seems to be against Wolves, doesn't it?
I don't know, Chris. I mean, we had the 4-0 away at their place, but I seem to remember a couple of 1-0s at home. I think
but we've had a couple of 5s as well.
Of the season, didn't we? We had a first game of the season. I think we beat them 1-0 last season. With a Vardy, a brilliant piece of Pereira skill, and then a Vardy flick at the near post. It could be one of those that's going to be quite tight and tense because they're not an out and out attacking team, are they? So
no,
I think they'll be looking to keep it tight.
Well, as you can see there, the recent games, like you say, have been tighter. Just go through these stats. So this is the run-up to the game for the 2 teams, the form guide. Not looking good for Leicester. Looking better. Unbeaten in 3 for Wolves. They got the draw with Forest, which probably was one of the better results for us at the time. They beat Chelsea, which in a normal season you look at that and go, well done, really good game. But I mean, this year, probably not. I still can't believe that they've replaced Potter with Lampard. And they beat Brentford, something we've not been able to do.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that are going into this on a high, really, aren't they?
They are, but again, on a couple of home games. And again, when they get a big crowd in there, the crowd gets behind them. And again, they have decent players who can keep possession. So, it could be in many ways a similar game for us that we don't have as much possession as we would tend to like.
Yeah.
But we need to do something with the possession that we've got, and hopefully he'll pick a formation that allows us to do that.
Yeah. Jay, we did touch on that earlier, but I'll start the question and come back to it again at the end for you. I mean, there's the table, Craig, and Wolves in 13th with 34 points, and we, a lot of those in the know have said that 34 might just be enough this season. Could be even less. And do you think that they might be on the beach, or I think they probably feel they still need a couple of points just to be sure of staying up?
I think they will be of the opinion, not knowing they're running, because I'm notoriously badly prepared. I would say that they would be looking at, if they can take points away and win their home games, that will see them through. So,
Yeah.
hence, I think they would see a point here as a very good result for them. We don't get any closer, and it's a point closer to survival for them.
Yes. Well, just looking at how games could affect us this weekend, because we've notoriously not taken advantage of when we've had easy games and other teams have had hard games, because other teams seem to pull victories out the window. I mean, Friday night, Arsenal are hosting Southampton. You've got to think that's going to be an Arsenal win, haven't you?
You would hope so, and Arsenal need a result, don't they, after the last two
Yes.
games where they've let 2-goal leads slip.
Yes.
You would think that if they get a couple up, they're going to go for the jugular and make sure they get 3 or 4.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, you would hope that that's going to be a home win there.
Palace are hosting Everton. I don't think we're going to have the decision with Everton as to what the outcome with the regarding the FFP and the money and all that is.
No.
It is. I think I think the Premier League are waiting to see if Everton go down by themselves, and if they do, then they don't have to worry because it's not their problem. But they are in trouble, Everton. I mean, Southampton. People are writing Southampton off, but they're only 2 points behind us. Let's remember that. And Everton are literally only 2 points above us. We could do with a Palace win here, and
Definitely.
you can't see Palace not doing it. I mean, we all laughed Roy Hodgson riding back into town.
But yeah, I mean, 3 wins out of 3,
Yeah.
and scoring goals for fun, as it seems. So, no, I mean, I think he's looked at what he's got there, keep it tight at the back, and just get it to those front players that they've got. They've got a lot of talent there, and he seems to be just playing to the formula, as it were. So, I would hope that Palace will do us a favour there and take those points off.
Yes.
Everton.
Yes, I would hope so. Fulham. I mean, I did a show the other night actually with a few fans from the different clubs around us, predicting
Cheers for the update, Scott.
games. Sorry?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying cheers for the update, Scott.
Yes, yeah. I was hoping that West Ham were going to actually do better in Europe because it might take their mind off at the league. But no, I spoke to a fan, I had a West Ham and an Everton fan on the relegation debate, and the Everton fan was almost resigned to going down. And the West Ham fan said he'd be quite happy to go down if it meant they won the Conference League. So I don't know about that, but that would be interesting. But yeah, we will wait and see with West Ham. Leicester obviously got Wolves. Fulham hosting Leeds. I mean, Leeds got absolutely hammered, didn't they, by Liverpool? But then, they beat them earlier in the season. Leeds have got the habit of pulling a game out of the hat again. Could you see them getting anything? No Mitrovic for this game still?
To be honest, I thought Everton would beat them, Fulham, when Fulham were away at Everton at the weekend, and they came away from there with a 3-1 win. I think Leeds. I mean, Leeds are not in a position, I don't think, to go swashbuckling, having conceded 11 goals in the last 2 home games
Yes.
to Palace and Liverpool. So their first thought, I would have thought, must be keep it tight and stay in the game, which might allow Fulham to come onto them. So the best I could see Fulham Leeds getting there would be a point, to be honest.
Well, let us hope so. Liverpool hosting Forest. Again, you would think, come on. I mean, I was just in the chat on Doug's channel before I came in here, and I went like, come on again, Doug, one job. You didn't do it for us earlier in the season. Surely, Nottingham Forest are awful, absolutely awful. Now, come on, if Everton lose to Palace, which you'd think they possibly would, if Liverpool can beat Nottingham Forest, and I can't believe I'm saying if they can, but that is how they've been this season. We will be, if we beat Wolves, we're out the bottom 3.
Yeah, I think that's I was very annoyed with Rodgers, who kept saying the beauty of it is that it's in our own hands. Yeah, it's not really, is it? You need others to do your fight. I know technically it is. If you win all your games, you're going to stay up. But the one thing that annoyed me is there's no beauty in a relegation battle. I don't know why he kept saying there was any beauty at all. Then that's Brendan, and I think he saw it as another feather in his cap if he kept us up. And to be honest, he won't have us being relegated on his CV. So he's got away with that anyway. Either way,
he won't have it on his CV. But I mean, I was talking to the West Ham fan last night, and I was saying on Monday night, whenever it was, and I was saying to him because he was saying, Brendan Rodgers has been linked with us. I'm saying, for God's sake, don't. I said, you're actually better off with sticking with Moyes than you are getting Brendan Rodgers in. But that's football. You're crap at a job when you walk into another one in a few weeks.
Yeah, and to be fair to him, he wasn't crap forever, was he? We did have 2 top 6 finishes, and we did win the FA Cup. So I think managers have, like players at clubs, have time spans, and his time was up. I think when you get to a point where you can't motivate the players anymore, then it's time to move on.
Yeah, I agree. And finally, the other game that will affect us, Bournemouth, West Ham. I mean, again, Bournemouth. I mean, I cannot believe that I was saying to, again, we had a Bournemouth fan in the chat as well, and I can't believe I was saying I'm looking at Bournemouth staying up and Leicester going down.
Yeah, fair play to them. I mean, again, they've got a lot of spirit there. The fact that they were pulled back very late on against Spurs, but then managed to pull out and come back and get a late winner was fantastic. They got the result against us.
I'm back.
So they there's clearly a team spirit there at Bournemouth to do what they've done in the last couple of games, and they're fighting for him. So be fair play to Bournemouth. They haven't got the most talented squad, but they're making do with what they've got. And they, as I say, that never say die spirit that they seem to have found from somewhere is serving them well. Whether they can keep that up, I'm not sure. No. But particularly on Sunday, I would be hoping for them to get a result against West Ham.
Yeah. Again, I mean, Bournemouth, 33 points, 8 games to go. You've got to look at it and go, yeah, they're pretty much, they could be safe. And well done to them when you think at the start of the season, they had the Cardigan in charge and they'd lost 9-0 to Liverpool. So, it's been a fair turnaround. Going into this game, I mean, again, looking at that 3-1 against Man City. Let's be honest with you, there's bigger teams than us this season. They are the reigning, champions of England.
Yep.
They're battling to keep that title. And we only conceded 2 goals. Well, the goal difference, if you like.
Yeah, the goal difference only took the battering of 2, yeah.
Yeah, and you've mentioned this a few times. So our goal difference is minus 14. Now, Southampton is minus 29. Forest 33. Everton 22. Leeds 20. There's some... I mean, that every time that Liverpool scored against Leeds, I was cheering just for the get more. Take the record. I don't mind. Just keep doing it. that, I mean, all right, West Ham are -12 in fairness, but that could be, like you say, and I think you said this quite a few times this season, worth a point.
Definitely, and I think that's what was important from that Man City was, I think I'd gone for a 2-0 defeat, to be honest. Said I'd be happy with just a 2 damage to the goal difference as it kept us in a good spot with that, and it's worth a point. And you can see how quickly it can change. I mean, Leeds have lost, -9 in the last 2 games. They were on -11 and they're now at -20. So, it was important for us, I think, to manage to stem the tide when it went to 3-0 and then come back strongly enough to get a goal and maintain the 2.
Yeah, which again, I don't think we would have seen under the previous management team. But look, that was then, this is now, as they say. We've got Dean Smith in now. I think hopefully he'll get a good welcome. And just to go back to what Jay brought up, just to very quickly mention it, for me, Jay, Dean Smith, Shakespeare, and John Terry, I think, without really trying, we've stumbled on the best option that we could have had to try and keep us up. I would not feel this confident if Jesse Marsh was in charge. Obviously, the manager who's got a big ego but hasn't got the talent to match it. Who else turned us down before Jesse Marsh? Potter did, obviously. Rafa Benitez, no. I mean, I know everybody says, "Oh, well, look what he did at Newcastle." No. Yes, he took them down. And I think that those 3 coming in, because I think we talked about it last week, the experience that he's had, Thomas Frank, because we always say, don't we, well, Ranieri won it on, the back of Pearson's team. Well, I think Frank's having the success on the back of possibly Dean Smith's team. And he was only in 5th place when Norwich sacked him. And I think we have stumbled upon the best option we could have had, because we could have had Lampard, we could have had Gerrard, and I think we've stumbled on a very good team that will get us battling.
I think so. I think the fact that he's managed to get John Terry as well. Now, whether Terry would stay if we went down, I could see the other 2. I could see Smith and Shakespeare, but not necessarily John Terry. But I think as a 3, I think I agree with you, Chris. I think you've got 3 new voices rather than 1 new voice. 3 Englishmen, 3 people who have been around, who've got a lot of experience between them of all types of football, winning at the very highest level, relegation battles. Between them all, they've seen everything, to be fair.
Yes.
So you would hope that those 3 fresh voices will instill some confidence and give everyone a new start. And we saw it with Cags, who put in a pretty decent performance, to be honest. I
was just going to mention him. I mean, I had him as my man of the match, and I know a few other people did as well. A lot of people gave it to Nacho, and I get that. But my God, what are we missing? I mean, at one point, he was going forward. I think it was just before, what's he called? KDH lost the ball and gave it to Nini. But he went forward and he played a superb pass down the wing to Christensen, almost Harry Maguire-esque, the way he was marauding into the... I thought, this is what we've been missing. Now, I know that, there's something has gone on and we won't know, will we? We'll never know.
But I think what that showed to me was that to get the best out of Cags, he probably needs to be in a 3 to allow him that freedom to go on a run like that, knowing there's still 2 centre-halves there and the left-back can fill in behind him as well, because he came through, had 1 long run, didn't he, when he finished up on the penalty spot and should have been played back in for an attempt on goal.
Yeah,
but I think it gives him a little bit more freedom. I think it gives the centre halves either side of the centre half the freedom to step out into the hole with the ball and create attacks from there. If there's an opportunity, if a team's dropping back and trying to press, you've got an extra person, an extra body to actually come out with the ball. So I think it can work as an attack starter as well as shoring up the centre as well.
I mean, we're going to, going to let you pick the team in later in the show. But would you be happy going into the rest of the season with 3 at the back? Because to me, they're all right the first 20 minutes. But look who we're up against. Do you know what I mean? But with the games that we've got coming up, Liverpool's. You don't know what Liverpool's going to turn up, so that could be winnable. Would you be happy with the 3 at the back?
I think so, based on what I saw last week, to be honest. And it also allows a little bit more freedom for your fullbacks to go forward.
Yes.
If there's 3. And we know we've got 2 fullbacks who want to get forward, whether it's Christensen or Thomas. I mean, Christensen, I don't know if he's got a knock or something or why he came off, whether it was purely tactical.
I think it was tactical. Tactical.
Yeah, Christensen does like to sort of maraud forward a little bit, and Castagna does on the right-hand side as well. So I think that allows them more freedom, and particularly with not having Harvey Barnes, I'm not sure whether he'll be back. I wouldn't have thought so. Without having Harvey Barnes and the natural wide players, you get your width from the fullbacks. So I think it works on both senses to me.
Yes. Scott, sorry, we will be losing Cags this summer. Maybe, who knows? I mean, there's been no offers have come in for him, has there? So who knows? He may just decide to re-sign, and I'd be happy for him to re-sign. And come the end of the season, we will be doing another snog, marry, avoid as he keep get out. Nate's asking, new to the party, asking about Shakespeare. Scott, I'm sure will do us a favour and answer Nate if you don't mind, Scott. Andrew, manager and the player shouldn't hold grudges. We know that, but somebody didn't. Evans, if you see him playing again, don't see Evans if he plays again, willing to take any defensive advice from Terry. He's got to, because Terry's his boss, really, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'd be disappointed if he didn't. I think you can always learn at whatever level of football that you've played at. But you're right, Boris, we don't know how receptive certain players are to taking advice and coaching from people that they probably see as their contemporaries. I mean, there's not a great age difference between them, but you would hope he'd be open to it.
I personally think he will be. I think he's, we're not talking a Ben Chilwell or something here. I think he's old enough and wise enough to know, it's for the good of the team. Leon says, is Wolves game the biggest of the season? For me, I think it could be the West Ham game, the last game of the season.
I think as it goes at the minute, the next game is always the biggest game of the season, because if we win this, the next one is still the biggest game of the season against Leeds, because it's a 6-point swing, isn't it? So
yeah.
So I think we're just going to have a series of biggest games of the season now.
Right. Now, bear with me, because it might take me a while to get this right this time. Well, that's small, isn't it? So let us. There we go. That's better. Right. So let's have a look at picking the team, because it's his first team at home, and we may or may not agree on some of these. I don't know. But I haven't had time to redesign it, so you will probably be able to see all my spelling mistakes here. So on the one hand, let me just get the Leicester City team up on LCFC home, so that I know I can learn how to spell Iheanacho. I'm nothing if not prepared. I've been impressed with Everson, in fairness, since he came in. I was a big fan of Ward, as you know. Schmeichel, I said at the start he had to go. Maybe he had fallen out with Rodgers. Who knows? But I think Everson should be. I think he is the slightly better of the two goalkeepers now.
I think so. I don't think he's done anything wrong. I think occasionally his distribution is a little Schmeichel-esque, shall we say? But but his shot stopping has been excellent, to be fair. So yeah, I think he keeps his spot.
Yeah. Got to find him again now. Is it me, or can we not find him? This is a good start, isn't it?
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Now, the other thing, of course, is what formation in front of him?
I'd be looking at a 5-3-2, I think.
Yes. Please say I've got a 5-3-2. There we go. I am totally. I always thought I was a 4-4-2, but I just thought with that second half display, and you can say they took the big guns off, but they brought some bloody big ones back on again.
Yeah.
Their B team should easily beat our B team. Let me put it, our A team. I mean, let's be honest. Now, let's go from the left here. Just find the left one. There we go. You going for Christensen, or are you going to start Thomas? Because I thought Thomas did really, really well in that second half when he came on.
Yeah, he did do well, to be honest, but I'd go with Christensen at left back.
Right.
Are you on the left? You're on the left centre half.
I am on the left. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, so left centre half, Soyuncu.
So Christian on the left.
No, because you're on the left of three centre halves there, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So the left of the three centre halves.
Of course I am. Yes, Soyuncu.
Yeah.
Sorry. There we go, like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the middle.
Faust for me.
Really, more than Sutar in the middle.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, you could work either of those. I mean, you could say that Suter is probably least likely to bring the ball out, so you could have Faust and Soyuncu as the two wide. But I think you definitely have Soyuncu left, and then you could work either of those two.
Yeah. No, well, I'd certainly have those three at the back, definitely.
Yeah.
And they've got to be interchangeable, haven't they? That's the thing,
Yeah.
So left wing back, we're going to go Christensen.
Yep.
Can I just say, I'm very, very impressed that you've not gone for Ryan Bertrand.
Well, he's back in training apparently.
Well,
miraculously.
he played in the under-21s, didn't he?
Of course, yeah. Yes, miraculous. As soon as his mate John Terry's turned up.
Yes. And you've obviously, you've again resisted the urge to go with Vestergaard.
I have indeed, yes. Yeah, I think he just needs to show a little bit more in those under-21 games.
Castagna, I'm presuming, on the right.
Yep.
Okay. Now, on the left of the centre three.
I'm going to go Mendy.
On the left of the centre.
Yeah, because I see those three as being the centre one pushed forward a bit and the two either side sitting in slightly behind.
Okay, so you're going to go Mendy.
So they're almost a defensive two.
Okay.
With a number 10 in front.
Too many. There we go. Okay. I can see you thinking. On the other side, I think I
Pratt.
know where I would be going with this, but where are you going to go with this?
Dennis Pratt.
You're a good man.
I think what you've got in Mendy and Pratt is two people who can look after the ball better than KDH and Ndidi, to be fair.
Yeah. I'm going to discuss KDH with you afterwards, to be honest with you. And in the middle?
Madison.
I was actually going to type Madders then and expected it to come up. On the left of the front two.
Daka.
And I'm guessing, and let me just get his name up here. We are going here, Nacho, are we?
We are indeed. Yeah.
That, to me, I've got to say, is the perfect team that with the players we've got at the moment. That should be the perfect team. Soyuncu's done enough to keep himself in there. Mendy, you can't keep picking Ndidi.
No.
I'm sorry, you can't. He is just. How many times has he handballed the ball?
Yeah.
If he's playing as a defender, he takes players down. If he's playing as a midfielder coming back, he handballs it. But no, I agree. I agree 100% with you there. We'll just have a look at what people are saying, and then we'll have a very quick chat about. So I'm conscious of the time for you.
Right.
Let's just get back up here. Uh, every game Friday is the biggest. Yeah. I've got 4 Monday games, but we'll talk about that again. Every game from now on is the biggest. They're all agreeing with you. Chris, I disagree with the formation you were showing straight away. But I hadn't updated it. So we'll wait and see. I put the goalkeeper in first. Nate, 3 centre backs again. It's what we've gone. Yeah, all I know wasn't my formation, Scott. That was a default one that comes up when you load the app up. So he agrees with you on that. Everson did a good save last game. He is building that confidence up, isn't he?
He is, yeah. No, he's doing well.
Vestergaard is injured again, is he? Who knew? Who knew? Everson shouldn't be starting over Ward at the start. Everson should have been starting over Ward at the start of the season. Ratings don't mean anything. I saw him versus Stockport. He saved us, to be honest. Well, yeah, I don't. That's a separate. We've done that, haven't we? We've done that many times. Always liked your thinking regarding the players and formation, Craig. Or
Yes,
a bit of man love going on here. What, Noah Marty? I've got to own up to something here. That those that know me, I didn't used to like Marty, did I, Craig?
No, you didn't. No.
But the last season, I actually had him down as the most improved player. And in fairness, we would have been in the poo without him. Let's be honest with you, without our defensive injuries. That said, I was on a podcast on Tuesday night, and it was about Leicester season. It's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks. It'll be on Twitter and everything, so you can listen to it. But it was all about Leicester. And at the end, they do a bit of a quiz, which is, well, not a quiz as such. It's absolutely or absolutely not. And they give you so many players. So I think it was 6 players. And you had to say you would absolutely keep them or absolutely get rid of them. There was no middle ground. You couldn't go, well, maybe loan him. It was absolutely key. I might pinch it, to be honest with you. I did like the idea. And I had to say, I'm afraid, unfortunately for the Marty, absolutely let him go.
Wow. Okay.
Am I being unfair there, do you think?
Marty, like a lot of Premier League footballers, has a mistake in him. But I think he's a very good squad player, and he is someone who doesn't throw his toys out the pram when he's not in the team. And you know, if he has to get brought on, he will give everything that he's got. He's not a moaner. I've seen him improve in terms of his confidence in talking on the pitch. You see it more so when you're actually at the game, and you can see what he's doing when the ball's on other areas of the pitch. He's the one who's been doing a lot more of the talking and trying to organise people. So depending on who else you've got, I think he's a decent squad player, to be honest.
Yeah. Craig thinks we should do that. Sorry, Scott thinks we should do that. Apparently, West Ham have equalised, so it's 1-1 on that. They're looking at the semis, I think. I remember a while ago you've not been the biggest fan of Barnes. I think that's fair to say,
Yeah,
and you always said that Brendan Rodgers would be crucified on his own cross of Harvey Barnes
yeah,
or less of that effect.
yeah.
Do you think it's come a bit like that with KDH?
Potentially. I mean, he looks like he's playing with a weight of the world on his shoulders. To be honest, he is the homegrown talent who's managed to make it through and kept his place in the team. But
Yeah.
it all looks like it's a little bit much, and I think taking him out of the firing line will do him some good at the moment. To be honest,
He does. I mean, in fairness to him, he's played. He's played a lot. He's played most games because Rogers obviously
yeah,
wouldn't dare drop him but like you say, he had his favours and it was so obvious. But yeah, like you say, I think he could probably do with time out of the firing line. But the other thing I wanted to say is we saw Ndidi back and we saw Vardy starting yet again. Now, I mean, as I said, I know Sadler when he came, he was just trying to please the crowd and get him on his side.
yeah,
I don't know how anybody can take over a team that's just sacked the manager because we are in the relegation zone and decide it was a good idea to play the same formation and play the same players that have been playing under the guy that's just been sacked. But look, that's what Sadler did, and we know he played Vardy to get the fans on his side. Despite what Boris says, and respect to Boris, Vardy is bolt shot now. I'm afraid, certainly as a starter. Um, do you think that the Vardy and Ndidi selections were Shakespeare?
I think so. To be honest, I think he was going with what he knew, and basically giving them the opportunity to again have a fresh start this season. They'd been out in the cold a little bit. Indeed, he'd had a couple of injuries. So I think he probably went with players that he thought he could trust. But you're going back 4 seasons now, 4 or 5 seasons. So since he's been here, and I hope that they are of strong enough mind and character to see that they have to put all kind of previous relationships aside and pick the best team to get the job done.
Indeed. I know you don't like me saying this, but I certainly considered the Man City game a free hit. Because I don't think, with the best will in the world, we were going to get anything. Not saying that we couldn't, because it's been one of those seasons, but 99%. I mean, none of us went for a Leicester win. Let me put it that well, apart from Steve Lynex, and there's a reason he's bottom of the league when we do it. Predict that the show prediction league. And I think he said, well, all right, let's see it. Let's see how we get on. And hopefully Dean Smith's going, right, one up from Vardy doesn't work. Soyuncu back, that worked. Yeah, and I think hopefully he's looking at that and taking, the positives and negatives, because he could do it in that game. And he was very clever, because I think he's done that without risking our goal difference.
Yeah. I think so. He might stick with Vardy, but give him a partner. To be honest, but he must have realised that he can't play him as a sole striker anymore.
No,
I mean, I think that was obvious to anybody. To be honest,
yeah. And for me, I mean, again, he was supposed to be this great coach, but it was almost like he'd got Barnes and KDH to a certain level. And that's as far as he's not taken them onto that next stage. So it'll be interesting. Like you say, you just want whoever's out there, if they can get the goals, let's just say that it does. Now, Boris said, like I said, because obviously he wants to defend Vardy and wind us all up, but Daka fills no one with confidence. I mean, it wasn't so long ago we were saying that about Iheanacho. And he was in the same position where he was getting 10, 15 minutes a game.
True, and I know when Daka scored his hat trick in Europe, everybody was saying that he's, we've finally found the Vardy replacement. He doesn't become a bad player. I don't think he's had a run of games, to be honest. And I think also, like everyone else, he suffered from a confidence issue that the whole team has. But he still gives you that option, as Vardy, if Vardy wanted to do it, to stretch the teams. If you've got one who's looking to run in behind and one who's looking to come short, it puts doubt in the minds of the defenders, and what it enables you to do if you've got a back two sort of here that are picked up with Iheanacho on one, Daka on the other, and one comes short. It creates that space very much like Haaland ran into, where you've got one player coming short and he can dart in because the other centre half is dragged out to create a hole in behind him. So if you get two strikers like that working in tandem, one who wants to come short and drag a defender out and the other one who wants to run in behind, I think that could work.
Indeed. And you can't blame anybody. You know, we blame them. We blame Vardy. Boris blames Daka, but the whole team, let's be honest, has been shite this season for whatever reason. And we can say, whether that's the manager, whether that's the players, whatever. You cannot. I mean, even Maddison is probably our best player, and Tielemans. They haven't played well all of the time, all season, and I think the whole team though is struggling, and it's hard to play well. And like Vardy, yes, he wasn't getting the through balls. I mean, Dean Smith, one of the first things he said was, "We're not getting the ball through quick enough." But it's the same with Daka.
Yeah. True. I think Daka looks more eager to make runs than Vardy, I would say, at the minute. And, it could be that Vardy has just got sort of fed up almost of making run after run after run and not getting the ball and thinks, now I'm just going to wait until they do play it. But I don't think you can do that. You have to be one step ahead of the defenders. You can't wait, because if you can read the pass, the defenders can read the pass.
Yeah.
You see, the best strikers are the ones who are already on the move before the defenders have even known it. And if you can steal a yard or two, then that's often enough to get you in.
And he's 36. I mean, all right, at 36, he can run quicker than when I was 16. I'm not going to argue with that. But he's not going to have the speed. I mean, I think it was the Telegraph or the Independent, the report is saying, he hasn't got the speed that he had.
No, you can't keep it going the whole time. So I think he was encouraged by Brendan to conserve energy and to not make as many runs. And I think that's a hard habit to get out of once you've been asked to play a certain way, to then start thinking, I'm going to make every run. So, I'm not necessarily blaming Vardy for it. I think he's been put into a mindset, and at his age, I think it's difficult to change.
Yes.
Yeah, and Scott, what you said there, yeah, definitely.
Yes.
When Thomas came in, all three of them all come through the youth system, all had some great chemistry between them, could read each other and play some really nice triangles. But again, they were playing with confidence when they felt confident enough to do it. And now, without confidence, you just give the ball back where it's come from and you get off the ball as quickly as you can.
Yeah. Couple of points just want to make from the news. James has returned to training, but he won't be playing in the relegation fight, it says here. But it's nice to see back, if only to get him fit enough to sell on to Roma and make a bit of money on him. But hopefully he's got a longer contract than most, but we know that means nothing, especially if
I would. Yeah, I mean, even if we did go down, I would imagine he's going to be one of the unsellables to try and get us back, to be honest.
Yes, yeah. You would hope so.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we won the Premier League? It does seem a while ago now, doesn't it?
I do remember it. I do recall.
Yeah. we had a time where I think were Tottenham playing every game before us, and so it closed the gap, and then we played the game the day later, and we opened the gap up again.
Yeah.
Now, whether that was an advantage or not, I don't know. But we've got, after Leeds, we've got 4 Monday night games in a row.
Yeah.
which means 4 games on the TV in the row. And in fairness, there's not many champions that have been relegated. Leeds did, obviously, but that was pre-Premier League, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Blackburn Rovers.
It's only Blackburn, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So you can see why the TV are doing that. But does that give us an advantage? Because obviously, if it's Monday night, everybody else has played, and we are the last game by the nature of the scheduling. Would that give us an advantage, do you think?
I think it gives us an advantage if the other teams haven't won. If the other teams have won, I think it just adds pressure because you have to get a result. Otherwise, you've lost ground and it's another game gone. So it can work both ways. If the other teams have lost, you can play with a bit more swagger, maybe a bit more confidence, because if the worst happened, you've not lost any ground. So it can definitely work both ways. I think it will definitely depend on what results have already happened over the weekend. But you do know what you have to do.
That's it. I mean, to me, I completely agree with you, but I do think, in a way, like you say, we know what we've got to do. We know that we have to win the game, so we will see. Again, it's my bum has never been as squeaky, as they say. But right, let us have a look at. Oops, that's the Premier League. I don't want to do that. I want to have a look at that, which is the score predictions, which everybody very kindly filled in. Ian Wilson, again, we're still waiting for. I should send his a day earlier, shouldn't I, really? But we're all feeling a lot more confident than we were when we played Man City, because nobody went for the win.
No.
But if we have a look at it there, Brad has gone for a 3-0. I've gone for a 2-1 because I still think we've got a goal conceding in us. You've gone 2-0. Tags has gone 2-1. Ian Marshall, being Ian Marshall, he's gone for a couple of losses in the next 2 games, in which case we'll be down, and he thinks we're going down, and fair enough. You can't argue with that. Like I say, Ian Wilson, we're still waiting here. Steve Lynex has gone 1-0. He thinks it could almost be over. But Walsh has gone 2-1 as well. But, I mean, Steve Lynex does play the devil's advocate sometimes and reverse psychology. Yeah. But it's looking... we'd take any of those apart from Marshes and Lynex's, wouldn't we?
I think so. I think you just need to be looking at 3 points here now. We're not in a position... even a point in these home games isn't really enough. You've got to be looking at getting all 3.
Yeah, and if it's about, to me again, bugger the performance. I mean, West Ham, all right, they played very, very well against Arsenal, but the 2 games they had before that were apparently some of the most boring games that West Ham have seen in years.
Yeah.
But they won, I think, both of them 1-0. That's what we need to do, because they got 6 points and are probably safe now. You've got to. It's about winning ugly, isn't it, or winning at any cost?
It is. Whatever you've got to do to win the game, you've got to do, and which makes it difficult because you want to come out and you want to be on the front foot. You want to start busy, but you don't want to concede, because then, particularly against a team like Wolves, who have got a decent defensive record, to be honest, they're hard to break down. So that first goal for either team is all important, as it is in most games, but I would suggest even more so in this one.
Yeah. And just out of interest, after the Manchester City game, should we have a look what the league looked like?
Yeah.
Yeah. And excuse the Brentford thing up there, but I haven't updated it. Yeah, most of us, if we were managing Leicester, would have got the team relegated a long time ago. No, but all I can say, Craig, is thank God for Steve Lynex for you.
Exactly.
Yes. Now then, it is time to end the show, but what do we end the show with?
We end the show with a defeat for me.
Well, in fairness, I thought I made it easy for you last time, going with Jerry Taggart. But actually, looking back, it probably was harder than I thought it was. But I have literally, because it's made it 4-2 to me now. So I've got to do this to give you a chance here. I'll not give you a chance, that's being condescending, but I think you won't have a problem with this one. Did I really say that? Let me just have a look that I'm going to click on the right thing and not show you who the player is. No, I'm not. Here we go. He loves Peterborough United, so I don't know whether that's a clue or not.
Oh, wow.
But here we go.
A Wolves player. Yeah, I'm not particularly happy with that, I got to say, to be honest. My mind doesn't work quickly enough on these. That's the problem.
Excuses, everybody. Excuses. Do you remember?
Exactly. Quite right.
I remember when you were doing the quiz the other way around before, and it was never a case of, "Oh, Chris, I'm going to give you 5 minutes because I know your mind doesn't work very quickly." Remember any of that? There's no hurry. Right. There's no hurry at all. So Grimsby Town, Peterborough. I'm guessing that was a loan first of all. Then he went to Peterborough, then Norwich, then Peterborough again, then Wolves, then ourselves, then Swansea, and then Cambridge. It is quite recently. We got
2023. He's gone to.
He's still playing. He is still playing.
Yeah. So who did we sell to? And we only had, by looks of that, we only had him on a loan.
Wow. Possibly.
It's got to be the surely I can't remember his name though. The glorious centre half that we had, who had that fantastic game against Spurs, I think, when Harry Kane put him on his backside.
I need a name though.
Yeah, I know, and I can't get the name. I can picture him, but I can't get the name.
His Wikipedia page isn't called the player that was put on his arse by Harry Kane.
Yeah, but you know exactly who that I know who this is.
What I'm going to do?
Yeah, I can't pull his name out.
I see you struggling so much, and I'm guessing that you have got it right. In fairness, but obviously with no name, I am going to give you a half point.
Oh, right. You're going to call it a glorious draw on this one, are you?
I'm not going to give me a half, but
I'm
going to give you a half, is what I mean.
What was his name? Jesus. I wouldn't have known it from any of the other clubs, to be honest, only looking at the fact that he came from Wolves and we only had him on loan.
I think if I just put the Wolves and the Leicester, if I just put the two teams up, that would just make these things impossible. So
it's right. Yeah, I wouldn't have known anything. I can picture him. I can picture him as clear as day. But could I pull a name out in the time that you're allowing me? No.
Well, I can allow you as much as you want. I mean, I can nip to the toilet if you want. I can borrow the neighbour's dog and take him for a walk.
Yeah, what would I do?
You're not going to get it, are you?
No, I've tried to get his name out of my head.
I think we've given you the time.
No, that's fine. Just give me the
right player. You are on the right player, and I'm going to give you half a point for that. I'm not going to give myself anything.
I appreciate that.
You haven't got it, if you know what I mean.
No,
I
that's
think
fine.
That's only fair.
What's his initials?
Not for the point. You've described it very well. Well, in the name that I put up, it's RGB. But I think you probably think it's RB. It is his official initials.
Yeah. Yeah, Ryan Bennett. Yeah. He's definitely who I was thinking of.
Yes.
Yeah, we had on loan for a short period of time. Disastrous loan.
Ryan, as I put there, Ryan Gordon Bennett. Was he that bad? I'm trying to remember. Again, he came in as only the only signing, and it was a loan, wasn't it?
Yeah. You know what? It probably wasn't as bad as we all remember, but the
No.
game that he was really bad in, he was really bad in, and I think that's why, he's thought of so fondly, to be honest, because that game against Spurs was just an absolute shocker,
Yeah.
And that's the one he'll be remembered for, sadly.
Unfortunately, yes. But I mean, I think when you look at it, it was completely underwhelming, wasn't it? That window, and
Yeah.
a player that couldn't even get into a Wolves team. No disrespect to Wolves, but if you're saying like, oh, we took one of Man City's defenders on
Yeah,
loan,
if you stayed up to watch Sky Sports after being told we're hearing news that Leicester are going to sign someone, so you stayed up specifically for that, and then you got Ryan Bennett, you'd be very disappointed.
you would indeed. But no, I think that's the fairest outcome
I
there.
appreciate that, Chris.
No, I'm nothing if not fair. Scott went 3-2 Leicester. He thinks it's going to be a goal fest. Nate said, Boris said Gordon. Nate said, great show. Thank you, Nate. Predicting a 1-0 win. Scott went Ryan Bennett. To be honest, I had to look at the current players in the Cambridge squad. Well, at least you're being honest. At least you're being honest, Scott. Now, seeing as you are so good at quizzes, and you are going to be hosting a new quiz for us come the end of the season, which will, of course, be the big fat Leicester quiz. And I don't think I got a reply, but I did put a question out to you on WhatsApp earlier. Would you be interested to be the first contestant?
It's probably only fair, isn't it, that I can obviously it'll be a different question master, but no, I'm happy to be a guinea pig to show people how the quiz would work.
Indeed, and it'll be me as the question master. So expect some Ryan Bennett questions.
And to be honest, I think the last time I was on one of your quizzes, I didn't do particularly well on the Leicester questions. I think I did well on the opposition's questions.
You did actually, yeah. Honestly, did you? I think you went through though. I think you did actually.
I did win it. Yeah, I did win, but I got more off the opponent than I did of my home questions.
Spencer, good evening. How are you? He's gone 2-1 Leicester. And Scott's just West Ham have gone ahead, so they're winning 2-1, 3-2 on aggregate now. Craig, you're going to the match?
I will be indeed, yes.
So if you are free on Monday, we have obviously got to have the match. We're going to try and fit 2 shows in. We have the match review and the possibly, if we can fit you in, the preview of Leeds, which will be either happy or sad depending how we got on against Wolves. You're on Twitter. How can people find you on Twitter?
Yeah, just I think it's just at Craig Bird on Twitter. I was an early adopter, so I got my own name with no numbers.
I love the fact that you look at me as if sort of I know sort of thing.
Yeah.
But no, brilliant. Thank you so very much. Fingers crossed for 3 points at the weekend. We need that, don't we? We need 4 games. These 4 games will decide our season because it's the last time. I think we need 4 points from Wolves and Leeds.
I think so, minimum. I think I'd be hoping for 6, but obviously if it's going to go any way, I would rather us get a point against Wolves and take 3 off Leeds. To be honest,
that's the way I would. That in the worst case scenario, I think is what I would like. But like you say, 6 would be nice. And of course, then we've got Everton at home. Everton's away form absolutely rubbish. But then again, it was last season when they came, only won 1 game away all season and beat us. And it will be Fulham's last game before the return of Mitrovic.
Yes. So maybe hopefully a good time to play them, but. You never know, but these are the games where the season's going to be won or lost, as it were, and which will dictate which division we're playing in.
Do you think? And I will leave. This will definitely be the last question. It's harder because we've had the success recently.
I think so. I mean, any of us of a certain age, prior to us getting promoted and having the great escape and winning the league. This was our every season fare. We were, we had 4 seasons of top 10, I think, under Martin O'Neill, and they were the glory years.
Yes.
I think I've said it before on here, walking to the ground with my son Scott, and saying, enjoy this because this is as good as it's going to get. We'd had 4 years of top 10.
Yeah.
Little did we know what was going to follow, but we had to hit the low before we hit the high. So this was our life. And, I've spoken to 2 people who are as disappointed as they will be if we go down, are quite looking forward to a season in the Championship as well, because it's like a return to the Leicester of old of trying to win something again rather than just tread water.
I think it keeps the, I mean, a lot of what I say, whether it's on Twitter and in the Facebook group or on here, is obviously not always my actual thoughts, because that's what we do as presenters. It might actually bring us back down to earth a little bit. Because
it may be, I think. No, sorry, Chris. It may well do. It may well give those sort of more recent fans a view of what life is really like as a Leicester fan. The damaging thing will be that we will probably lose more players than we would have done if we'd have stayed up.
Yeah.
And whether that then has a knock-on effect to the stadium expansion being put on hold. There's a lot of other things that it could affect. So in an ideal world, yeah, we need to stay up.
But look, at the end of the day, I can remember us going down to League One, and I can just remember sat there thinking, and I think it's the same this season. We have been so bad all season. You just kind of resigned to it. And I know when we went down, and that was more than one season when we were awful, but it was just a case of it was coming, But hopefully, look, we've done it once, and Craig Shakespeare was here when we did The Great Escape. This could be The Great Escape, The Return.
Sequel. Yep.
The sequel, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you very much. So fingers crossed. Get out there and follow Craig, guys, at Craig Bird. And thank you, as always, for coming on. Hopefully get a chance to see you on Monday night. And just fingers crossed, I'm going to say, I'm still waiting for that commode to arrive.
Cheers. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot. Take care, buddy. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you so very much there to Craig. Nervous, tense, nervous, headache, definitely. Scott, cheers. We are going now as well, so thank you very much. Let us pray and let us hope that we can do something. It is boring, but look, at the end of the day, we go down. We're not getting bombed. We haven't got Russia invading us. We haven't got. Cheers, Craig. Yep, all the best. We will still wake up the next morning, go to work, do whatever we do on the Monday morning. Feel down, of course we will. But we've still got a club, and we haven't got a club that's going to be deducted points like Derby were. Remember, in the past, let's be honest with you, it's not so long ago, the first season in the KP, or Walkers as it was then, we'd got relegated, and gone into administration. Not that bad yet, guys. It's not bad. And there is totally, Nate, totally, there is positivity back, and that is good to see and hear. Guys, I will be back tomorrow, possibly doing a match preview. Not a match preview, press conference review. We're going to try and fit that one in with Brad if I can. And we'll be back tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, with the prediction show, hopefully with Steve Lynex. Thank you to everybody that was in the show and joining in the chat. Thank you so much to everybody. It really is appreciated. Thank you to my wise old friend for being on as well. And thank you to everybody who's listening on the podcast, Leicester Till I Die. It is much appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe, like and click on that notification bell. And for just $1.99 of your good English pounds, you can become a member. And then when we get more members in, we're going to have special members-only shows and do a lot more for the members. We just need to obviously get the numbers up. I'll see you, like I say, tomorrow. Thank you so very, very much. This has been LTID TV. I've been Chris. This is Marilyn. Good night.
These videos are so dreamy. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to click the notification bell.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.